I would like to be mainly like just like a tech and progressive producer, just really underground sounds. But what I found is that my mixing sounds a lot different than my production, and actually I don't end up playing a lot of my own stuff when I mix, because it's a little too floaty and ethereal, and that's kind of how I got into the discussion with a couple labels that I should probably end up doing some soundtracks and movie scores, because it fits a little bit better in there. It's my favorite word that's been described is esoteric, unfortunately. So I guess I'm gonna keep working toward the tech and more dancey stuff, but it always ends up at some point just kind of moody and melancholy, and more for the ears than for the dance floor, or more for the mind than for the body. Well, I've always been more of a producer. I just didn't know how to do it for many years, so I DJ'd for about 10 years before I actually touched any piece of software to try to do my own thing. So there's always been the idea of taking a track and wishing that it did a certain sound or had a different outro or a different intro, and then just having ideas of how to do it, and then not having a way to make that a reality. And then once you start messing around with the software, you're able to do that, and you're able to chop things up, moving them around. And the more I got comfortable with it, the more I felt better about it. Oh yeah, it was an EP on Underfunk digital, and it was called the Sick Child EP, which was super dark, and that track was really like I was aiming to hopefully have it played by John Digweed. I remember making it, like catering it to his style. It was really techy and really just kind of underground and sickly. And I had Maria do some vocals on there, which I just totally skewed it up and like stretched them out, and she sounds really just dark and eerie and scary. And then there was this other track called Jittery Q. It was also very techy and very chunky. This was when tech really started getting popular, so I downloaded the sample, all the sample sound banks, and I was messing around with all the sounds, and I was really into all the tiny little blips and ticks and sounds. And my problem at the time, that I realize now, was I was putting way too many of them in there, but I thought they sounded super cool at the time. But anyway, they liked the tracks and released them, so I was super stoked. I don't know if Digweed ever played them. I doubt it. After I got that track on Baroque called Walnut with Shirley Levi, I started working a lot more on a track that a friend of mine and we created this alias called Phos Project, which Phos is Greek for light, and he's Greek, Taiki, and we were trying to come up with we wanted to make a label, and we're trying to come up with names and stuff, and he was like, dude, I really like that Vonat track, let's use the word Vonat. And I was like, oh, all right. So we started getting into that, but of course, daily life got in the middle of that, and so instead of going along and making the label, which we got the domain name and everything, but we just didn't have time to do any more like business planning and all that stuff. So we created I had a show on tribalmixes.org that was called Levente Sessions, and I figured no one really knew that Levente is an actual name, so I had it Levente Sessions just because it was weird enough. And I was running out of time to constantly make mixes, and I wasn't finding enough guest mixers for it, and I told him that it was actually his idea to split the show then and rename it, and so he liked the name Vonat for that too, so we just called it Vonat Radio, and he made the flyer. He's really good at making flyers and banners and stuff, so he created all that part, and then my job was just to ensure that both of our busy / procrastinating / lazy asses can provide a good mix every single month, which is, you think it wouldn't be easy enough to do one mix a month. We have a 2-hour slot most of the time. We only had 1 hour filled, so these days I just I look for good talent to put on there. We've had some pretty big names on there, like Diffuse and the Cosmonauts, one of which is basically Sasha's, one of the A&R guys, the music guy. I DJ'd a little bit I got to DJ at 10:15 once, and then I DJ'd at Mina Gallery a couple times, and Harlot with you guys, with the Nuwax crew. I like the scene a lot. It's just, you know, it's the typical politics of any other city. So I'm kind of a recluse, and I'm not the best promoter out there, and that's why I've always been, you know, the so-called talent. So whenever someone asks me to come DJ, I'll be happy to do it. But I'm not the kind of guy that goes on just wants to, you know, constantly be bugging club owners and promoters just to get a slot. So because of that, I just kind of go whenever someone asks me, and that's great. But I'm not out there actively promoting myself. And plus, ever since I've been producing it, it interests me a lot more. After 10 years of DJing constantly in the Northwest and moving to San Francisco, I've just been focusing so much on, you know, learning the program and making better and better tracks that it totally overtook my, not my passion, but my interest in DJing. So I'm always happy to DJ for the right crowd, but I'm not into the whole, you know, the politics of give me the better slot, or can I do it only on a Saturday or something like that. So it is what it is. Producing is just so much more fulfilling when you can go home and just everything is completely from scratch, or whatever, manipulating other sounds already, and it's a good feeling to know that you made it. It's just like an artist can draw something. It's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's like the difference between being a gallery owner and an artist. So you're the one actually creating the art. The gallery owner is just kind of showing it to everyone else, which is kind of like DJing. You know, you're using all this other music and bringing the right music into the gallery so people can listen to your mix. I'm really into ambient and down-tempo lately, and I really wanted to create an album. I have a bunch of down-tempo tracks. I just have to combine them in the right way and master some of them, and you know, make some agreements between some vocalists which sound great, but I don't even know if I could use their voice, but the songs are good. So that was my goal. And then the other thing, I just want to keep making some quality tracks. And I didn't used to like to remix, but this year for some reason I've been really into remixing other work. So that's a focus that I'm going to try to do.